Welcome to the Women in STEM podcast. I am your host, Kelly, and today we have a great episode as I am at the HeadForward's headquarters and I am interviewing Owen, the product manager. And let's hear what he's got to say. Hello, and welcome to my podcast. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, sure. I'm Owen Hodge, and I'm a product manager here at HeadForward. HeadForward's a software company dealing with many different clients, doing a range of different pieces of work.
That's very interesting. You mentioned that you're a product manager.
Yeah.
Like, what does that even mean? What does that entail?
It's an interesting role. So I'm currently working for one of our large clients, and I sort of head up the team that is looking after the customer experience platform. It's essentially the CRM and how the company interacts with its customers. And sort of I look after it from a kind of, I guess you'd call it like strategic level. So developing a roadmap, going out in the business and identifying the opportunities for processes that we want to put onto our product. So it's almost like it's a little bit of a sales role in that you kind of go out and have to find the opportunities and the fit for your platform. And then I'm responsible for managing that roadmap and making sure that we're set for delivery so that we can deliver the things that we promise. So there's quite a lot of stakeholder management as well as kind of team organization, and that's kind of what I'm doing. And
what are the key skills that you need to work in your job role?
I think communication skill is probably one of the main ones. The role does involve both kind of it's kind of like a leadership position, if you like, within the team. So we've got quite a large team. So those sort of people skills in terms of making sure the team are okay at an individual personal level. So checking in with the individuals within the team, but also making sure the team is performing as a whole. And then also the same sort of skills for that, as I mentioned, that kind of the customer facing bit. It's almost like the customer facing role within the team. So that's, managing the stakeholders' expectations around delivery timelines and what we're going to deliver, and negotiating scope in terms of like, you've got this really big vision of what you want us to do. That's fantastic. We're going to start here and just deliver you this little small bit right now, just so we can get going and try and, agile coach and that kind of thing. So I think communication skills are the key element. There's quite a lot of context switching in the role as well. So probably that sort of like organizational piece and time management and those kind of things are also quite key. It's not like an overly technical role, but having a technical understanding of your product is really useful, I think, because whilst you're not expected to sit there and write the code to build the thing that you've essentially committed the team to build, you need to know that what you're sort of offering is deliverable. And you also need to be able to have those levels of conversations with the developers and engineers within the team to kind of help come up with the right solution for the customer. So there's a technical angle to it where it's useful to have some technical background as well.
Okay. I'm very curious to hear what you studied at university.
Yeah, so I went to university, and what was the name of my degree? It was Computing for Commerce and Business was the name of the degree. So similar to your degree, I know we were speaking before, Kelly. So it was a combination of like an introduction to lots of different technical elements of what you would call IT. So it touched on development and database and various other aspects, but also had that business angle as well, which was around project management and product management, and it helped develop those kind of like finance management and those kind of things, which when you then become a product manager is quite useful. I didn't set out planning to be a product manager, but it's useful because you have a budget, you have a team, and you need to build a product to deliver value to your customers. It was a useful degree. I didn't necessarily know it at the time exactly how I would put it into practice, but it was that cross between a technical degree and a business kind of degree.
Interesting. Yeah. And with regards to your journey to becoming a product manager, was it a straight and narrow one, or did you do other roles in between?
No, yeah, done several different roles. Like I said, I didn't necessarily set out to be a product manager, and didn't even really know that was a role that existed when I first started in the technology industry. Straight out of university, I landed a job as a technical support sort of consultant or analyst. So joined a technology company and was essentially in their service desk answering calls about the product that we were developing from end users who were having problems with it. And that was just my foot in the door in terms of getting into a technology company. And then quite quickly, then I sort of moved into a leadership position within that team as the company grew. So I ended up sort of managing the support team, which gave me some skills around sort of people management and that kind of thing. And then moved into operations management, which was then more of a broader sort of looking after all of the customer facing elements of our business. This was in the EdTech industry, so we were developing an app around school to home communication. This was like at the boom of when sending text messages to parents and getting an app that parents could download to be more involved with what was going on with their kids' education was like in its kind of boom period. So yeah, everything from sort of pre-sales to the support side to the training side, and then feeding into the product direction as well in terms of what we were hearing from our users. I'd be feeding that into the sort of strategic decisions as well. So I had that operations management role. And then I did a similar role, moved to HeadForward about 7 years ago, did a similar role, but for a different organisation working with HeadForward. And then the product manager role came up on a different contract, and I liked the look of it in terms of the role description, and I thought it was about time I tried something new, and that's how I ended up doing it, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting career path that you've been on. And it sounds like you've, done a number of different roles and worked in like different companies. And I'm curious to know, with regards to like your experiences, do you often get to see like women in those roles, or has it been heavily male dominated?
Yeah, it's a really good question. It's a bit of a mix. So unfortunately, there is definitely in terms of a percentage wise, there's definitely a higher percentage of men in most of the organisations I've worked in. Interestingly, there's been a lot of women in leadership positions, like throughout the company, not necessarily just tech leadership positions, but sort of just going back to a few of the companies I've worked for, and on that sort of board, if you like, there was probably quite equal representation of men to women. But in terms of that technical level with developers and engineers, yeah, I wouldn't like to put a number on it, but there's definitely a heavier weighting of men in those roles, I would say.
And for the women listening right now who might be interested in becoming a product manager, do you have any words of advice, any, certifications or any skill sets that they could be working on?
Yeah, so I'm not sure. I've not personally done any sort of formal product management sort of qualifications. I think there are some things out there. I did look at one point. There wasn't an obvious thing you could go and study a product management degree, for example. It might exist now, I'm not sure. But I very much found it was a natural fit. It's that, like I said, it's that nice combination of sort of, you're working in a technical landscape. So quite early on, I figured out that like writing code, I just can't do it. I wasn't very good at maths at school, and when it came to doing my computing degree, as soon as I was in the things where I was having to write code and develop, I wasn't very good at that. I struggled with it, but I knew that I wanted to work in technology. So being able to have that technical understanding and be able to talk at a technical level with people, but very much having that customer facing edge. So like I said, the people management, the stakeholder management, and the getting involved in a bit of pre-sales. So that's kind of what it looks like, and the sort of skills that you would need. I think it's quite a nice. I really enjoy it because, like I say, I'm working in a technical team, but I'm interacting with users out in the business on a daily basis who often aren't technical, and sort of in that bridge between the team and the end users.
And I just wanted to touch quickly on the manager part. In order to be a product manager, do you have to have had a lot of work experience, or do you need to have managerial experience in order to do the role?
I I don't think so. So because you can be a product manager without being like a manager necessarily of people. You're essentially managing your product. Now I do look after quite a large team, so there are some product management roles that do require you to do the kind of the line management of the people in the team, or for example the budget management and the sort of finance side of your product is given a budget and you need to spend it in the right way. So there's that kind of financial management aspect. But really you're the manager of your product, so it kind of is yours to shape and scope how you want, really, in terms of like what your roadmap's going to look like and the angle and direction you want to take your product in. So there's some skills that were useful to have, but I don't think you necessarily have to have had management experience necessarily before you get into product management.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing about your role and kind of giving us a bit more detail around it. I feel like you've helped so many people with maybe they might be interested in product manager, but they were a bit intimidated by the name of it. And where can people find you, and like, do you have anything up and coming?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn, so you can find me on there. I'm Owen Hodge on LinkedIn, product manager at HeadForward. I'm on Instagram. My handle there is OJ Kernow. That's Kernow spelled Kernow. And in terms of stuff we've got coming up, I'm about to sort of my role is evolving this year, coming into this year, and I'm going to be more involved with a new arm of HeadForward, which is our digital academy. So we're still scoping out exactly what that is and what it looks like. So I'll still be doing product management for sort of 80% of my time, but I'm starting to get my hands into a little bit of stuff around our digital academy, and also I also host our podcast here at HeadForward, so feel free to check that out as well on all the different channels you can find a podcast. It's Head Talks by HeadForwards is the name of the podcast, and I look after that.
Great. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you very much, Kelly. Thanks for having me.
Thank you to the amazing guest host speaker, and thank you for listening to this episode. Please make sure to follow the podcast and to follow me on social media at Kelly_engineer on Twitter or Instagram. As well as please make sure to check out our new YouTube channel called Women in STEM Podcast to see our latest episodes visually. Until next time, bye!